Welcome back to 9.2. In the first podcast, we showed you how to crisscross the charges and reduce them to the lowest whole number so that you could determine what the formula of these compounds are. Now what we're trying to do is we're going to show you how to name these compounds. Naming ionic compounds, piece of cake. It is simply the cation name plus the anion name. That is it. So, if you go back to the original ion, what is the name of this sodium plus 1? It's just simply sodium. What is the name of this anion where you have chlorine with a -1 charge? Remember, we changed the chlorine to chloride. So you write that out. So the name of this compound is simply sodium chloride. Scrolling down just a little bit. What is the name of this cation? It is simply calcium. What is the name of O2 minus? That is simply the oxide ion. Not oxygen, it's oxide when it's an anion. The AlN, Al3 plus, is simply called aluminum. Remember, the cation names are simply the names of the elements. Nitrogen, when it's an anion, is called nitride. So the name of that compound is simply aluminum nitride. Now the same is true when you get some of the subscripts in here. For example, up here, K2O, you don't have to say how many elements of any individual atom how many atoms of any individual element that you have. You simply name it cation name, anion name. So what is the name of that cation? It's potassium. What is the name of that anion? Oxide. So the name of the compound is just potassium oxide. We know that it's K2O because it takes 2 potassiums to balance 1 oxide ion. Similar down here, what is the name of Mg2 plus? Is simply magnesium. What is the name of Br minus? It's bromide. It's just that easy. And when we get down to Al2O3, again, it looks like it could be or should be complicated, but it's not. What is the name of this cation? It's aluminum. What is the name of that anion? Oxide. So it's simply aluminum oxide. So that's it. Cation name, anion name. Now, you do have a little bit more to think about when you're dealing with transition metals or heavy metals, because they can oftentimes have different charges on them. For example, copper can be a +1 or it can be a +2. Well, remember back to 9.1, when you're dealing with these transition metals that have different charges, all you need to do is put a Roman numeral in that tells you what the charge of that cation is. Copper 1 plus is simply called copper 1, with the 1 being a Roman numeral in parentheses. That is the name of this cation. What is the name of this anion? Oxide. So the name of the compound is copper 1 oxide. Now notice that the Roman numeral does not tell you how many that you have. It tells you the charge on the cation. That is it. Do not confuse the Roman numeral with the actual number of atoms in the compound. Sometimes it's the same, sometimes it's different. Now, coming down here, what is the name of the copper 2 plus cation? It is simply copper 2. What is the name of that anion? It is still oxide. So the name of this compound is copper 2 oxide. So in copper 1 oxide, you have 2 coppers. In copper 2 oxide, you have only 1 copper. Again, the Roman numeral only tells you the charge on the cation, not how many you have in the compound. Moving over here to FeS. If you look at the charge on that iron, that is going to be iron 2. The name of that anion is sulfide. So it is iron 2 sulfide. Whereas this compound That iron is a 3 plus, so it's iron 3. The name of this anion is still sulfide. Cation name, anion name. Alright, scrolling down. And again, if you get the pattern on this, go ahead and pause the podcast, try a couple on your own, then go ahead and start the podcast back up and see if you're right. When you get to PbO here, what is the charge on the lead? Lead is a 2 plus, so we have lead 2. The name of the anion is oxide. So it's lead 2 oxide. In the one below it, the charge is 4 plus. So we call that lead 4 oxide. And finally, over here with the tin is a 4 plus, so we call that tin 4. That's the name of the cation. The name of this anion is nitride. So when you're dealing with an ionic compound, which is always a metal and a nonmetal combined together, all you need to do is write out the cation name and the anion name. In the next podcast, we're going to show you how this works with polyatomic ions.